Oh, hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here for my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Because without you guys, well, I would just be sitting here talking about the Dallas Cowboys by myself, and that would be just plain crazy. Wow, it's Saturday morning. Actually, I thought this weekend was going to be a real quiet one, but I've actually got to drive up to Delaware doing some work on my cleats, my cause, and stuff like that. And we've got to go see the artists and things this morning. And little road trips. So, Joe Boo, pack your bag. We're going to be hitting the road in about a half hour. But after the 2015 season, I used to, before YouTube got where I put all my information in, I used to actually have a blog where I'd actually write out, but YouTube has become so much easier because you guys know I can't spell worth a damn, and my grammar isn't always so great. So I'd write it and then have to get my wife to edit it and everything else, and it just took so much more time. It's so much easier being here on YouTube where I can just say what's on my mind, one take, and I'm done, and it's up. But in 2015, after that dismal season, I had a series that was called Fixing the Boys. And it's where I basically took the problems and things that the Dallas Cowboys had and needed to be worked on and fixed for the following season. Well, it seems to me like this is the perfect time to get Fixing the Boys back again, because we've got a whole lot of fixing to do. And I think the number one thing is Jason Garrett. Now, I've been reading, of course, a lot of the comments and stuff. People are like, oh, yeah, well, you're talking about him, that he was the greatest coach in the world. He was coach of the year. And now you want to bail on the guy. It's like, hold up. Back up. Because if you're going to come at me and make a comment about what I do or what I say or think, be sure you have your facts together. Because this guy right here has never, ever been a fan of Jason Garrett. From the time they hired him, who was basically a quarterback coach from Miami, to be offensive coordinator, and paying him like a head coach with no experience. After these 8-8 seasons, every year seeing him fail when basically it was playoff situations, I said, this is not the guy. We're doing on-the-job training. And people would say, oh, we need to give him another year. Give him another year. And I'd say you can't keep wasting players. So to say that I have been a Jason Garrett fan is wrong. Flat out. So before you tell me what I think, know what I have said here, because I don't falter, I don't change. But the number one thing is the coaching staff needs to go. The philosophy is flawed. And this isn't anything new that we're dealing with. Because this is an article, let me read this article to you guys, and forgive me, I'm not great at reading out loud and stuff, and actually let me put my glasses back on so I can see the damn thing. But this is from December 28, 2015. Somebody had brought out the fact that they were looking at some Shango videos and thinking that they were relevant to today, even though they were 3 or 4 years ago. It's the same thing. It's history repeating itself. Brandon Weeden is proving why Jason Garrett should be on the hot seat. The Dallas Cowboys are having the worst season since 1989, in which finished a dismal 159. If they go on their way to lose their final game of 2015 and finish 4-12, which is raising eyebrows about Jason Garrett's job security. So this is nothing new with Jason Garrett looking like he doesn't know what he's doing. The Cowboys have won only one game without Tony Romo this season, and that's their only win without him since 2010. Without Romo under center, the Cowboys are 1-10 this year, and 3 of those losses came with Brandon Weeden as a starting quarterback. Keep in mind, Brandon Weeden was in your system for a year and a half. Weeden went 0-4 in his time with the Cowboys backup quarterback the past 2 years. Jerry Jones eventually traded for Matt Castle, and after the team Week 7 bye, Garrett named Castle a starter, and Weeden was eventually released from the Cowboys. The Houston Texans signed Weeden to the team as a backup, but after Brian Hoyer and T.J. Yates both went down with injuries, Weeden stepped up and is now on the verge of leading the Texans to a division championship. In 2 games for the Texans, Weeden has 301 passing yards and 3 touchdowns to go along with a rushing TD that he has the team in wins over Tennessee Titans on Sunday, according to ESPN stats. Most important of all, Weeden led a comeback victory against the Indianapolis Colts 2 weeks ago, and the last week he led the Texans to a win against the Titans. Why is Weeden finding so much success now that he's with the Texans? Why aren't the Cowboys successful with Weeden? Was it the play calling? Maybe the coaching? These were the questions that now surround Jason Garrett because the Cowboys were unsuccessful with Weeden under center. What it boils down to is the Cowboys coaching staff and everyone is pointing fingers at Jason Garrett, and rightfully so. Many teams have dealt with injuries this year at quarterback position and have found success. Mike Vick and Landry Jones won relief of Big Ben's this year. Matt Castle found some success without Andrew Luck as well. Matt Hasselbeck. The Arizona Cardinals made the playoffs last season with numerous quarterbacks in Carson Palmer's absence, and perhaps the most notable of all, back in 2008 when New England Patriots won 11 games with Castle under center after Tom Brady tore his ACL in games that Castle started. The Patriots went 10-5. Good coaches find a way to win games without their star quarterback. Will they win all games? No, but the Cowboys have not been able to pull off. But the Cowboys been able to pull off just 3 wins without Romo, they would still be in a contention for the NFC East. Think about that. The Cowboys have lost 6 games by 1 touchdown or less in Romo's absence, and they also failed to score a touchdown in 4 of their losses this year. Let me say it again. They also failed to score a touchdown in 4 of their 11 losses that year. Good coaches can win games with backup quarterbacks, something Garrett has been unable to do, especially without Romo. Jerry Jones is also at fault, if not mostly at fault, so we can put all the blame on Jason Garrett's shoulders. So, let's think about that, guys. Because Jason Garrett's philosophy has been next man up. Guy goes down, somebody jump in the spot and go. And herein lies the problem. Because when you hear this is clearly a couple of years ago, but it's the same issues. Because what Jason Garrett is exactly, this is what I've got, this is where we're going to go, and no matter what happens, you have to be able to adapt and change to conditions. The fact that he can't win a game without Tony Romo, because he's still keeping everything the same as Tony Romo was there. And Tony Romo was a unique quarterback. You can't just say, Brandon Weeden, now go be Tony Romo. You got to realize what Brandon Weeden's strengths and weaknesses are. Brandon Weeden sucked holy hell going to his left. If you moved him to the left and try and make him pass, chances are it was going to be intercepted. Yet Jason Garrett continued to have Brandon Weeden go to his left, in which case he kept throwing interceptions. Game planning and changing your system to the conditions is something he cannot do. The fact that Tyron Smith is not there and you put Chaz Green out there thinking he's going to fill the shoes like Tyron Smith, he's not Tyron Smith. You have to change your plan and say, I've got to keep a back out there to help Chip. I've got to keep a tight end. I have to change because he's not Tyron Smith. And that's the problem. When you get outscored 72-6 in second halves, it means you don't adjust. When you are 7 out of 17 in games that you're leading at halftime by 3 or less points, you're not adjusting to the situations that are out there. People want to put it all on Dak Prescott, but I'd say that the fault lies in Jason Garrett for not developing players. Brandon Weeden, everybody will say he was a bum, yet after being here for a year and a half, underneath Jason Garrett, he couldn't win a single game. Yet he goes to the Texans, and a week and a half later, he's playing in games and playing lights out, throwing touchdown passes, and getting them to the playoffs. So all of you guys out there that want to say, it's Dak Prescott sucks. It's on the coaching staff to take the tools that he has and develop him and make him take the next step. But past history of the last 7 years goes to show that's just not happening. So my friends, the first fix for the Dallas Cowboys is you got to start over in coaching. In the time that Jason Garrett has been here, all the coaches that have been there as long as he has, out of the 9 coaches, 6 of them have won Super Bowls, and a 7th has been to a Super Bowl. The only outlier out there besides Jason Garrett is Marvin Lewis. So, friends, Jerry Jones, the Jason Garrett era has to be up for the long-term health of this team, and certainly for Dak Prescott's future. Well, I got to get ready to do a road trip. Jobu, you about ready to hit the road? Let's get that coffee going. I'm Mark Holmes. Don't worry, friends. It's going to get better. It might get worse before it gets better, but it will get better. Hope you guys have a great weekend.